Wearables data combined with AI effectively discerns Parkinson's symptoms. Wearables data combined with AI effectively discerns Parkinson's symptoms. You're listening to Inside Precision Medicine Reading, presented by Hakeem Ali-Bocas Alexander for World Reading Club in association with UniquilibriuM on the Wisdom app. This edition's reading focus is on precision, InsidePrecisionMedicine.com. Published on September 14th, 2022. It's titled, Wearables Data Combined with AI Effectively Discerns Parkinson's Disease Symptoms. New research from the Brain Research and Advocacy nonprofit Cohen Veterans Bioscience, CVB, has demonstrated that wearables data combined with an artificial intelligence algorithm can effectively identify people with Parkinson's disease and those without. The results, published last week in the journal Sensors and supported by the Michael J. Fox Foundation, analyzed data from the Parkinson's Progression Markers Initiative cohort, which collected data continuously using a Verily study watch in a subject's natural environment. Researchers then used these data to create and train an AI algorithm to see if it could detect the PD from a person's daily activity. In the proof of concept study, the research team used inertial sensor data from the Verily study. In the proof of concept study, the research team used inertial sensor data from the Verily study watches worn by individuals for up to 23 hours per day over several months to distinguish between 7 subjects with Parkinson's disease and 4 without. Since motor-related Parkinson's disease symptoms such as bradykinesia and gait abnormalities typically present when a PD subject is walking, we initially used human activity recognition techniques to identify walk-like activity in the unconstrained, unlabeled data. We then used these walk-like events to train one-dimensional convolutional neural networks to determine the presence of Parkinson's disease. The researchers wrote. The new AI tool provided good results with researchers about to discern people with and without Parkinson's disease using their wearables data with 90% accuracy on single walk measures and 100% accuracy when analyzing data collected for an entire day. This study shows the feasibility of leveraging unconstrained and unlabeled wearable sensor data to accurately detect Parkinson's disease using powerful deep learning methods, said Lee Lancashire, principal investigator of the study and CIO at CVB. Through this combination of wearables and AI, we are one step closer to monitoring individual healthcare-related activity, such as motor function outside the clinic, unleashing the potential for early detection and diagnosis of diseases such as Parkinson's disease. Developing innovative methods for identifying and diagnosing Parkinson's disease are needed, as it is one of the fastest-growing neurological disorders and there are currently no objective biomarkers of the disease. Okay. As it is one of the fastest growing neurological disorders. It sounds like they're talking like about some tech startup. It's the fastest growing. The wording. Oh, man. All right. Inside Precision Medicine continues. Developing innovative methods for identifying and diagnosing PD are needed, as it is one of the fastest growing neurological. Oh, yeah. You're not in my head. As it is one of the fastest growing neurological disorders, and there are currently no objective biomarkers of the disease. Marked by progressive decline in both motor and non-motor, for example, cognition and mood symptoms, diagnosis of Parkinson's disease today is complicated and typically relies on subjective questionnaires to assess symptom severity of symptoms, potentially leading to symptoms being undetected or misclassified. Sensor technology has shown its potential to aid in diagnosis and as a means to develop digital biomarkers of the disease. The results of this proof of concept study for the use of sensors as a potential diagnostic for Parkinson's disease paves the way for the use of sensors as a tool to monitoring symptoms and disease progression. Although additional studies are needed, we are excited about the potential of using sensor data obtained through a patient's normal activity to enable physicians to monitor and classify PD symptoms through easy-to-obtain objective measures which can be used to improve clinical decision-making and guide therapeutic interventions, noted Mark Fraser, co-author of the paper and CSO of MJFF. Yeah, there's a little ad here for a free virtual event, The State of Biotech, September 21st to 22nd, 2022, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Let me click on this. Who's putting on this event? The State of Biotech, hosted by Gene Edge, sponsored by Synthico. The State of Biotech, 2 dynamic half days. Wow, that's a that's a long time, but it's the State of Biotech. It's not going to be, because we got Jennifer Doudna, Altos Labs, Beam Therapeutics, Exscientia, Baylor, Cole Medicine, Inistro, MIT, Twist, Othram. Yeah, there's a lot of. That would be nice to attend that. Who knows? We'll see. September 21st. Might be able to do that. September 21st. Might be able to do that. Let's see. Is there anything else here? No, there is not. Related articles, more from author. No, that's it. All right. You've been listening to Inside Precision Medicine Reading, presented by Hakeem Ali-Bocas Alexander for World Reading Club in association with UniquilibriuM on the Wisdom app. And here is Aundrea Nyle.
Grand Rising, Hakeem Ali-Bocas. What was the last one?
Alexander.
I love the way you say your name.
You know, I'm practicing. I call it making a sandwich because do you want to know why?
Yes.
Because I say the same thing in the beginning and the end, and I put all the juicy, meaty stuff in the middle. So
So it's the
so,
Hakeem
so I
Ali-Bocas Alexander sandwich.
yeah, so I'm basically just practicing. So I have this idea, whether it happens or not, right? It's just a thing. Um, how are you doing, Andre? Before I go into a diatribe, because I can start going off. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I was just listening to you reading and I was like, there's no one here. I can take advantage and have Hakeem all to myself.
You know, sometimes you got to do that. Hey, I'm trying out also something different because so what's really interesting is your voice sounds really nice when you speak uh, through the app, and I can hear you very clearly. And it's the same thing, you know, when I listen back to the recording, for example, like the interview I did with you.
Yes.
And this is with everybody that I talk to on the app, whether I'm the caller or whether if they come to my room, so to speak. And um, what's been happening on playback, because I'm one of these people who repurposes the hi Shane Cottle, guiding breathwork journeys on your wisdom map. There is my audio comes out terrible. Like for like the first 20 minutes of a lot of my recordings, it sounds like as if my voice is made of paper and it's being crumbled internally the whole time I'm talking.
Yeah, it does actually
And
sound like that. It sounds like bubbly. That's the only way I could describe it.
and is that the way it sounds now?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder what that is. I can't figure it out. Is it the microphone on my phone?
It might be the
Hold on.
microphone on your phone. What phone are you
Hold on for a
using?
second. Did that fix it?
No.
It's the Galaxy S20 FE
So you're on Android.
5G. Yeah.
It might be something to do with Android, because I know that they're trying to incorporate better features on the Android.
Sure.
Yeah, so it might be that, because it does what it is. It sounds a little bit robotic, like voice is not clear.
Yes,
It has like a robotic.
So what if I talk like this? Is my voice a little bit clearer now, or is it still robotic?
That's so weird.
So it's clearer.
Yes.
It's because now I understand what it is. It's because the machine can't handle how deep my voice is.
The decibels, yeah, that's what it is.
So now I have to talk like this, and then. Hello, everybody. Welcome. You're listening to the Wearables data combined with AI effectively discerns Parkinson's symptoms.
Do you know who you actually sound like? You sound like Chris Berryman. Sorry, Chris, if you're listening, but
oh man,
sound like.
So,
your voice is too deep for this, babe. You got to sort it out.
So that's crazy because it's only on wisdom. So it's just something that they didn't take into account with the program, because that's a digital issue. And my voice often gets really low.
Yeah.
So it's a processing issue. Because if I get really relaxed, right, and I start talking like this.
Yeah, then you sound like a robot.
That's crazy, because this is my voice when I'm relaxed. So now I have to get all wound up
and be excited. Say, hey, good morning. How you doing?
Oh my gosh!
Yes.
All right. Well, now I found the solution, because I know that some of my recordings aren't like that. So now I just have to do this.
Yes, there you go.
Right?
Teamwork makes the dream work. This is all.
All right. You see that? All right. But wisdom, please take control of your, program into your frequency response. Okay.
Yes.
Increase your frequency response.
Yes.
So I can relax. Okay.
Yeah. Totally robot. That is so crazy.
All right. So we figured it out.
God, see?
Look at that.
Boom, bam. There we go. See, I knew I came on for a reason. I was like, I don't know why I'm coming on, but I'm going to come and say hi to Hakeem.
What time is it right now?
It is 10:41 a.m.
Okay, so you're 5 hours at this time. Okay,
yeah,
got it.
Yeah, we're 5 hours ahead.
All right, so what's new in Aundrea Nyle land?
Aundrea Nyle land is bedland right now. Yep, chilling, playing games on my phone, just relaxing. Sometimes I just have to relax because I do a lot. And when your brain is just busy all the time, and I feel like if I'm not doing something, I feel very unproductive and I get very frustrated with myself. So I'm teaching myself to relax and do whatever I decide to do, but don't force myself to do it. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I get that, because I don't like to force myself to do things. I've learned over time to be more gentle with myself.
Yes, so that's the key.
And you know what? I got to keep my voice at a higher range, because I just noticed that I went like this. And it probably started to sound like a robot again, right?
A little bit, yeah. But it's fine.
All right. So, yeah, All right, so we just gotta so we gotta train the AI. It's so there's a thing called frequency response. I think it's or a frequency range. So like sometimes you'll see the specifications on headphones or speakers, and it'll say it has a frequency range of this many decibels, and then it also have ranges in hertz. It'll say from this many hertz to
Oh,
this many hertz. And so it's possible that maybe, I'm not sure, that maybe in building the app, they didn't, somebody forgot to put in maybe the frequency range isn't wide enough in the recording. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. I
I don't
would.
know if it works that way. I
Well,
don't know if it works that way though.
I would definitely bring that to Daryl or Dio if you get to speak to her, because I know. But the thing is,
Yeah.
bless her heart, she is inundated with people making requests, and I think what they said is they are working on building the foundational aspects of like solidifying what the foundation is,
Yeah.
the baseline foundation of all the features, and then I think they're going to start trying to implement things. So I guess we just have to be patient and put the suggestions forward and know that they will be heard and dealt with at some point, but we just have to be kind of patient with
Yeah.
them and gentle, because this is new, and we know that this is a groundbreaking app that is going to do really big things, or is doing big
It
things.
is. And now, what about my voice now?
Yeah, it sounds okay. I mean, it doesn't sound fully clear because obviously the tonality of your voice.
Well, I just changed my headset. So what does it sound like now? Is it any different? Is it lower?
Okay, talk low though.
All right. So what if like this? You mean?
Yeah,
So if I was speaking this
it
way?
sounds, your other headset had a better sound than this one.
Okay. So the other headset had a better sound because
It didn't sound so
I. Okay. So check this out. Let me see then. This one. I'm gonna try out one more. So this, yeah, it's so crazy because it's like the least expensive one. It was
Okay, now I definitely cannot hear you. Nope, still nothing. Nope, can't hear
hold
anything.
on.
Oh, okay, there you go.
All right. So okay. So you can hear me now. And what about this
Okay,
sound?
so now that I've heard them both, the other one is louder and a bit
Okay.
clearer, but this one has a
Okay.
better tone, but it's not as loud and not as clear.
All right. So this is actually a third one. But let's see. I'm gonna go back to the first one that I had because that seemed to be the best one. Hold on.
Let's see what happens. I'm just filling in the gaps so we don't have silence on your recording. So, yes, if you don't know what we're doing, we're trying to fix a sound issue or a sound problem and see how best we can, because Hakeem has a very deep voice, and when he talks on this app, it makes him sound like a robot underwater. So, we are trying to see how we can rectify that.
Okay. Now, how about this?
Yeah, it's clearer, but it's more
Uh-huh.
quiet than the second one.
Okay, so it's clearer but more quiet. But so that means that I have to be right here then.
Keep talking.
So I have to just be a little bit
No,
closer
that doesn't
when I
make
do
it
it.
sound any better.
Really?
No, it doesn't. Yeah,
Wow.
this one, I think, try the second one again.
All right. So, all right. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. Mic check.
Who's
This
in
is so
here?
crazy.
Little Warrior Church, hello. Shane Cottle, hello. Erica Michelle, hello.
Hey, hey, hey. Now, what about this sound?
Yeah, this one's better.
Yeah, see, this is no headphones. Now, you speak a little bit, and let me see if there's any echo.
One, two,
If you, tell me if
three.
you hear your voice.
I can't. I can't hear my voice echoing back. And this sounds better.
Interesting. All right.
I usually just use
So,
my device. I don't use headphones when I'm on mine. If I'm right now, I'm on my
right.
iPad, and I'm literally just talking to my iPad.
Now that seems to work. I'm finding out that without using headsets or anything like that, it seems to probably work the best.
I think that's what it's designed for, that you can just talk to your
Yeah.
device rather than having to use a headset where the mic, because then it's dependent on that mic.
All right. Now, what
You
about
sound
this?
far away. Yeah.
Really? So this is so crazy about these apps. I'm going to try one thing here. This is so funny. Well, it's not the apps, it's the devices. So I'm going to look at something here. All right. So, all right. Now, what? Now, how about the sound?
No, still the same.
All right.
What are you doing differently?
I'm switching whether it's for calls or audio.
Okay, this sounds best. Whatever you've done, this sounds better. Yeah.
Really?
I don't know what you did, but that's better than the
Okay. So this is
thing you just did.
this is this is probably the combination I'm looking for then.
What did you do?
I was so there's a when you go into your devices, like whatever's connected to Bluetooth, there's
Mm-hmm.
a little gearbox on the side that, like, for example, these are called Redmi Air Dots. So whatever you name your connected device, when you look at it, there should be like a little gear thing. Uh, for it's called for your settings,
Yeah.
right? And and uh, when you click on that under connections, at least for that's what it's like in the because it says one Bluetooth device connected, and I click on that. And then I look at the Bluetooth device. These are my Redmi Air Dots I got from China. I click on the gearbox next to that. And so watch this. I'm going to do this. Crap right now, right?
This is
Or it
bad.
changed.
This doesn't sound good.
Yes. Right. Good. So I'm going to go here. And this
Yeah,
sounds
this
better,
sounds
right?
good. Yeah, this sounds
Wow.
better.
Okay. So it's simply a changing of, and that's what I thought. I was messing around with them, but I didn't have anybody uh, to give me feedback. So
Well,
thank
here
you,
I am.
Andre.
You're
Look at that.
welcome.
So now I think, now what about my voice though? If I get really calm and relax.
It actually doesn't sound too bad, but it's still got
Okay,
that bubbly sound a little bit.
got it. Okay, so I just have to be a little bit more excited.
Yes, like up here.
All right. So now, speaking of excited, today is Friday, so Rodney's going to be on in a little bit, right?
He is in a little while, just over half an hour, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my best to stay awake for that. It is Friday, so yeah, I could do that because I could stay awake a little bit and then take a nap,
And then,
very brief
yeah,
one.
yeah, and then get up.
I had a really great nap yesterday morning
Did you? I love a nap, you know. I love nap.
because yeah, I felt really weird. Yeah, I'm a paranoid person, and
Hmm.
sorry, I acknowledge you love naps. I got that. It just popped in my head because we were talking about I was talking about Rodney, and so I'm such a morbid, crazy person sometimes that I was up, and so I was like, oh, it's 6:30 Eastern time, right? He does it 5:30 Central time, so I'm 1 hour, ahead, and so I went through wisdom.
Yeah.
And I'm scrolling through. I was like, no Rodney.
No, what yesterday?
I'm like,
Bro,
yeah,
I thought he died in his sleep.
yo, for
Bro,
real.
I
I was like,
was like, this man must have died in his sleep because he is here every
and I,
day. I messaged him. I was like,
yeah,
are you okay? I didn't even say. I think I said, Grand Rising, are you okay? I was like, I'm
yeah,
very morbid like that. If my mom
I
Oh, I'm
left it.
terrible. If my
Yeah,
mom doesn't answer the phone to me, I literally imagine her laying on the floor dead and I'm not there. I do that.
yeah,
It's really bad. And I don't
right.
know why I do it.
No, and well, a lot of people do it, and I've done it ever since I was a little kid, but I've learned to deal with it in a different way. So when I had those thoughts this morning, I just thought to myself, you know, I'm not going to call him because I have his number.
Hmm.
I said, I'm not going to text him or call him. I'm just going to go about doing what I need to do. I just check in the app from time to time, and sure enough, I checked in. He was doing a show in the afternoon, and
Me, I call, you know what? I
you know,
call and text because you never know. And, but what I don't do, so this is what
I didn't want to know at that time if there was something bad. I didn't want to know. I just didn't. I had other stuff to do. I was like, I don't want to
you
know
was
this right
protecting
now.
your own sanity at that point. It was like,
Yeah.
nope, I don't want to know. Let me
I,
just go with my day. If you're dead on the floor, that's your business. I'm not checking on you right now because I need
it's like
my sanity.
I can't. I was like, there are other people who are closer to you who will deal with it. Like physically closer in space and time. I'm just not doing it. I'm not gonna freak out from a distance.
Yeah, sorry, bro. We can't do that for you. Like, just sorry if you're dead. But yeah.
It's like I can't. It's like I can't die inside myself right now. I have to go on.
I love that. I love that. But I really
But
love that you've connected with Rodney. I was listening to you guys speaking the other day, and I was like, I really love that you've connected with him because I really feel like Rodney's energy is going to be really good for you. Um,
I think
yeah,
it is already.
I
Yeah.
would say, yeah, Rodney. I know Rodney's in the process of getting his coaching practice up and running, and I would strongly advise that when he
Yeah.
does, jump on his program because it will change your life. I'm actually working with him in getting it up and running, so I know what's coming, and yeah, Hakeem, it will literally change your life. Like I've had a few thoughts about you, and I
Mm.
okay, so you know that I don't know what's the word. I'm a very highly sensitive empath, very highly, and
Empath.
psychic as well, and I have other stuff that I do, but like I literally read energy and feel energy, and I won't go into detail on here, but we could have a conversation off here. And
You should because people are concerned about me, and it might be because whatever demons were trying to possess my body
hmm
are like barely holding on.
yeah, yeah, I feel. I mean, if you, I can say some stuff that won't be that could be quite generic, but you could probably read between the lines
Uh-huh.
if you want, or I could just tell you.
You can just say whatever you want. I'm not. I have. It's your. It's first of all, it's your intuition, which may not be accurate.
It may not be.
So
You're absolutely right. So
so
this is
so
just my
somebody
feelings.
right. So somebody could hear it, and even if it's true, I could be like, nah, she crazy.
Be gentle with me.
Plausible
I'm
deniability.
sensitive.
Okay. All right. So yeah,
Okay,
lay it on me, sister.
I okay. So I pick up energies, but I also listen to conversations. So they do kind of confirm.
Inform you a bit.
It more confirms than influences. So I would have felt something already,
Okay.
and then you said something, and I was like,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Because when I first heard you speak, I felt a really
Mm.
strong grief energy on you, and I was like, I feel grief, and I know what
Yeah.
grief feels like. So because I know what these energies feel like, I can. It's like tasting food for me. Feeling energies is like tasting food. I know what chicken tastes like. I know what strawberries taste like. I know what grief feels like and smells like. And yeah, I know what depression feels like. I know what I know a lot of energies. I've experienced a lot. So I'm very acquainted with certain energies. I know what ADHD energy feels like. I know what autistic energy feels like. I know like just lots of different things, and I can identify them very, very quickly. And even like when I look at your picture, I can see sadness in your eyes. There's a lot of sadness. Yeah. I can
You're
I
hilarious.
can see it. I can see the sadness. I can see the thought.
Yeah, but that's not a
No,
secret.
it's not. This is
You
not. But this is not me going by what you're saying, or this is by what I'm
right, right.
feeling. So this is not because I listened to you. This is what I felt when I first saw you. But I never. We've not. I've not
Yeah, well,
had
I
that
am very,
conversation.
very sad.
Yeah, you can see it though. And I can feel the sadness, but it's like, okay, I've literally just gone through, I want to say four days. No, from since Saturday, I've been sad because it was my dad's birthday on Tuesday. It would have been his 70th birthday. And this is like the second birthday that I've had without him being here. And my dad was my hero. Like, we were super close, you know, and he died in a very, the whole situation was quite tragic, I would say. Like, he had a car crash after going to visit a friend who was in distress. And on the way back, another car ran into him and whacked him off. It aquaplaned, whacked him off the road, and he damaged his C3 spine. So he was paralyzed from the neck down, and that was really, really traumatic for me. So it was like I lost my dad, the version of my dad that I knew, and then I was grieving him even though he was alive. So I went through that grief. And then
Yeah.
just before he was about to leave rehab, he got corona and died within 11 days. So it was like, then there was that grief. And then there was disappointment. And then there was, confusion. And then there was all these things that I had to deal with. And when as you twinkle,
As you twinkle. Just now, you were like all these things I have to deal with, and as you did that, there was like a jingling sound, like what are those, like wind
oh,
chimes?
really?
Yeah, you were like at all these things, and it was like ding, 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 ding.
See, I'm magic. You didn't know that, did you?
That's right.
I'm actually
See,
magic. I tell
magic.
people this all the time, but they don't believe me. And I'm like, okay, you don't have to believe me. I know I'm magic. So, yes, there's
Right.
my little wind chime. But yeah, so I had to like go through the grief. I allowed myself to grieve, and I allowed myself to be sad, and I allowed myself to drink, and I allowed myself to smoke, and I allowed myself to self medicate and numb that feeling in whatever way I wanted to. But then it got to a point where I remember standing in my living room, and Holy Spirit just literally said to me, or Spirit, whatever you want to call it, the universe, whatever people call it, prana, whatever. I literally heard a voice say to me, "Are you ready to stop grieving?" And I was like, "What?" And it was like, "Are you ready to stop grieving?" And I calculated. I was like, "Right, it's been 9 months." And I was like, "That's how long it takes to make a baby." I was like, "Yeah, I think that's long enough. I could make a whole person in the time that I've been grieving. So yeah, I'm ready to stop grieving." But what helped me was this. I was reading Dr. Wayne Dyer's book, and in it he was
Which
saying
one?
that it was oh God, I've read so many of them. It
It's
might
okay. I was just curious if
yeah, I
you know off
think
the
it
top of
might
your
be
head.
Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. Yeah, I think
Okay.
it might be that one, or Excuses Be Gone. It's definitely one of those two. And in it he spoke
Okay.
about death and how we perceive death. And I can't even remember exactly what he said. It was something along the lines of we we basically choose when we want to go. Like, everybody chooses. Nobody leaves without cosmic permission. Yeah, like, nobody. And I was like, okay. And it was like that nobody dies, which I know, and that energy stays, and that, you, just because a person's not here physically and you may miss them, their energy stay is eternal. So, and there's no such thing as separation. So I was like, when these, like, there was a culmination of things. And I also read a book called Conversations with God by
Neil
Neil
Donald
Donald
Walsh.
Walsh. Yeah, he came on my show, He actually came on my Zoom.
I saw that.
Yeah, I was so excited to actually have him, because his book literally, like, changed my whole perspective of death. His book really
Yeah.
solidified it for me, because it made me understand that we don't ever die, and that our energy, it comes back, and may come in a different form. Or, I yes, do I believe in reincarnation? Yes, I do believe in it. And I've been able to see my dad in myself. I've been able to see him in family members. I've been able to feel his energy. Like, on Christmas Day, I was standing in the garden and was talking to my dad, and I was like, "Hey Dad, it's Christmas, so it'd be nice for you to show up for the girls today." And I literally heard him say, "Oh, okay." And as I stood in the garden, my daughter came out of her bedroom and was like, "Mom, Granddad's here." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." And then my other daughter came out of the other bedroom and was like, "Mom, Granddad's here." And we were all in separate parts of the house. So we literally all felt him. He visited each one of us, and then we were together and we could feel his energy. And then obviously we started crying because we missed him, and it was very overwhelming. And I was like, "Okay, Dad, go now, because it's too much." And I literally just felt him, like, gently, sort of lovingly, you know, leave us, and we were able to sort of collaborate ourselves again, and stuff like that. And I realized that, and what I learned was that as soon as you think about your loved one, they're right there, because time and space and all of these things don't exist for them. They move faster than the speed of thought. It's like, as soon as you start thinking about them, they show up for you. And yeah, so I dealt with grief, because grief is very debilitating, and our bodies are not designed to hold grief for long periods of time, for very long periods of time, because when we do, it literally makes us sick. It makes us, it releases chemicals in our body, in our brain, that messes with our mental health and our physical health, and stuff. And I understand the importance of grieving, but the importance of having a end time for when you grieve. And whenever that is for you is when it is for you, whether it's a year, whether it's 2 years. Some people never let it go. And it blocks you from being able to, I guess, thrive or function in a kind of a happy, healthy way. It stops you from being able to love freely, because that grief, almost, grief energy needs grief. So when you have grief, it will attract more of that to it. And
Sure.
what it will do is create more circumstances for you to grieve over. So you end up staying in that cycle of feeling grief and then attracting grief, and then feeling it and then attracting it. And you will always put your mind back in that space of sad, and then being sad. Yeah, it sucks. It really sucks.
That
And
must really
I
suck.
don't, I'm a happy person. I don't like being sad, but I won't lie to you. I enjoyed a bit being sad, because
Yeah.
it made me feel like the level of sadness that I was experiencing was justified, because it showed how much I loved my dad. And I was expressing that his absence was allowing me to feel this level of sadness. And then I was confronted with the idea of, but Aundrea, you have the power to choose to experience something else. And I was like, yeah, but I don't have any points of reference of where missing somebody gave me a good feeling or a good experience. I can't associate missing the physical presence with joy. And I was talking to one of my clients, one of my friends who's one of my clients, and she said, well, Aundrea, what you have to do is you have to create that experience. And I was like, light bulb moment. Right. How do I turn sadness into joy? And I literally heard Spirit say, you are an alchemist. And all of us are alchemists, and we all have the capability to alchemize a negative energy and turn it into something positive. So I was like, well, what could I do to make it something positive? So I said, well, every time I feel sad, I'm going to become productive. I'm going to choose, right, I'm not going to be sad. I'm going to be productive. And it's not that I'm ignoring the sad. I'm just choosing something else. So I'm not avoiding. So I'm not now using a different negative energy of avoidance to compensate. I'm now using the power of choice. Because even in the Bible, it says many are called, but few are chosen. And I heard it very differently, that all are called, but few are choosing. And I decided I want to be one of the choosing ones. I don't want to be a chosen one. I am a choosing one. And I make decisions to choose my experiences. Every day I wake up, I choose. What do I choose to experience now? Oh, I woke up feeling crappy. Is that what I'm choosing? No. So what can I choose instead? Gratitude. How can I be grateful for this crappy situation? You have woken up in a bed with blankets, in a house, with food and lighting and electricity and gas and water, and you've got hair on your head, and you can move your hands. You are not paralyzed. You can breathe. Your lungs work. Your eyes work. Your brain is in good stead. And by the time I finish doing all of that, I ain't got time to be ungrateful. I don't have time to feel sad, because I realize that I live a very privileged life. And then I think about, those who don't have such a privileged life. I think about young girls who, I'll complain, oh my God, and I'm going to get a little graphic, but oh my God, I'm on my period. Oh my God, this is so bad. My stomach hurts. But I can reach over and I've got paracetamol. And I know that I've got my feminine products. What about these young girls who don't have that? And they are going through the same pain, but they don't have any painkillers, who are going through the same thing and they don't have it. I'm like, wow, Aundrea, how privileged am I to be in this situation? How privileged am I to have an iPad? How privileged am I to be able to be speaking to Hakeem Ali-Bocas Alexander at 11:11 in the morning? How privileged am I? And I just...
That's right.
Right? So it's like, but I'm sitting here being sad, when really I don't have anything to be sad about, because nothing bad ever happens. There is nothing bad. Everything that happens is good, because it works for your good. Whether the actual act is good, we know that the purpose and the outcome of it is good. Me coming on here this morning, I know it's for good. It's not bad. It's good. My dad dying, I know this is going to sound bad, but it's good. Because if he was still here, I wouldn't have done the healing that I needed to do on myself, and I wouldn't be who I am right now, helping others to heal and helping others to realize that grief is not the end of the road. And it's just the beginning of something amazing. When something dies, something is always birthed. It's just the way of nature. but you have to be willing to find that positive seed in that moment. Look for the positive, look for it, because sometimes it's hard to find, but there is always a positive seed in every situation. And it's for us to
Are you trying to convince me
No,
or
I'm
you?
convinced. I am fully persuaded. I am fully persuaded. So maybe I'm just sharing my thoughts. And if this resonates with you, it does.
I appreciate it. No, I'm just stirring you up.
Yeah, nah, like,
I'm naughty. I don't know. I've been feeling so naughty lately. I've been
that's
doing that a
good.
lot.
I love naughty energy. Naughty energy is fun. It's not always fun to be a goody two shoes. I like to be naughty sometimes. So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Okay.
that was my process. And yeah, I just thought I
But you're
yeah.
right. I agree in so many ways because it resonates with me because that's what I've been doing uh, in some ways. Uh, for example, um, it's incredible how um, I got invited to the Wisdom app, and I have been on this. I've been pushing and pushing to think, what am I going to do to get my content out there, to speak my voice, to practice, just to build and do the things that I have planned that rely on words and voice, because I'm building an educational institution, free and open courseware, basically. And but I have to be able to take notes and speak, and also just because therapeutically I can't stop. I need to express and continue to hone the expression of or continue to hone my expression into skills if it's possible. Um, and one of the things that I've been doing is, and it hasn't been, I know because I understand all the cliches and all of the standard things that people say, like the same thing like how you said, I allowed myself to drink, I allowed myself to smoke this and that. I got that too. What I'm talking about is began to use productive energy and continue to use my voice to create things. And I found workarounds for stuff. For example, if I'm not particularly feeling motivated or inspired or in high spirits, I know now uh, that I can, and I just came across it by accident because I was quenching my thirst to constantly be reading something and learning something new through reading. And I realized that when I'm reading, it's very similar to acting in some ways, um, voice acting. And I can totally put myself into a different zone. And when I'm doing that, I don't have to come off enthusiastic or anything, but it starts to be that way because for some reason, when I get into that zone, it just becomes very playful. And because I think it's hilarious how most very um, professional and mainstream speakers and what's widely accepted as acceptable forms of speech, I think it's just hilarious, and especially because I can mimic it so well. But I think it's funny. Um, but because of that, I just start having so much fun when I do that. And so, in just burying myself in work, so to speak, I've started to discover all these therapeutic modalities, and it wasn't just one thing. So I started kickboxing again as soon as less than 1 week of getting back to the United States, I started kickboxing again. And then the day after that, within 1 week, on September 11th, I started working as a personal trainer again. And then I started riding my bicycle. And then I got a security job. Then I started riding 120 miles on the weekend. And then I started eating a very strict
Right,
diet. And then I reduced my body
right.
weight by 30 pounds of fat. And
Go
then I found
you.
this app, and then I found wisdom, and then on and on and on, and it's just
And
a flurry
that all
activity of
started,
things that
all
have
of that with a
happened.
mindset change. All
Yeah.
of that
But
started with just subtle shifts in your energy, because you were changing your frequency. You were bringing fun back into your life. You were bringing moments of joy. And those moments of joy, what they do is they shift you to another frequency. And when you are resonating on a higher frequency, then more of that will come in. So it's really being gentle with yourself and allowing those small moments of joy, having them more frequently, which will then automatically shift you, which that's what brings the healing. It's taking on new, but what solidifies healing is when you find a concept or an idea that you can come into agreement with, because it's agreement that makes us who we are. Everything that you agree
I
with
feel from Pal.
molds you into who you are. So if you come
Yeah.
into agreement with different ideas, so when I came into agreement with the idea of evolution, when I came into agreement with the idea of reincarnation, when I came into agreement with the idea of us being eternal beings that are just having a human experience, it made such a big difference to me in how I view death. This is going to sound really weird, but I'm excited about dying. I'm excited about transitioning from and I don't even like to call it dying. I'm excited about transitioning from this version of myself into, good morning, Amy, into my higher self. And it really makes me excited. Like, I don't want to die tomorrow, because I want to help lots of other people have this same elevated experience of this beautiful thing called life, but also having that understanding that we are eternal beings going through a human experience, which is a blip in the cosmic, eternal, whatever you call it, where it's just like a blip. It's not even, in the scale of eternity. 80 years is not a long time. 90 years is not a long time. And I think when I realized that, I was like, I want to carpe diem. I want to seize the day, and I don't want to waste a moment of it. And I don't say being sad is wasting a moment, because when you are sad, you learn that experience and then you can move on from it. It's not staying in those sad moments for long periods of time. And what I discovered, and this was last night, I actually got a bit of a revelation about it, is that when you are in a negative energy for a day, to change your phase, it can take, it dissipates after about 3 days. I reckon, when you shift your mind consciously, it can take about 3 days to work through that energy. It took me 3 days. So it was like, it started on Saturday, but I was okay kind of Sunday. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I was sad. It was my dad's birthday was a Tuesday, so the Monday, the day before, I was sad because I knew it was coming. Tuesday I was sad because it was the day, and then Wednesday was the residual, and then Thursday I started to feel much better. I was able to, articulate a lot better without sad. I could feel better. I was more in that space, but I consciously said, okay, I'm going to experience this sadness because I want to, but I'm going to find what can I choose for future, because I don't like being sad. So what can I choose? And from that stance point is where I live my life. I wake up every morning, I'm like, okay, what do I choose today? What do I choose to experience? What am I choosing? And I literally love Tuesdays, because they are the days that I choose. On a Tuesday, I choose what I want to
Tuesdays.
experience.
Only you can say that, and all your fellow countrymen, because of your accents. Come on
No,
now.
you can call it Tuesday. You guys
I
say
know.
Tuesday, 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 Tuesday,
Some people say
Tuesday,
some
Tuesday.
people say Tuesday. Some people say Tuesday. Some people say Tuesday. Some people say Monday, Tuesday. You have people have very cute and various accents. I love it. I love all the accents that people
Mine is
have,
definitely a
and they're
Tuesday
fantastic.
with a CH.
You know, when I was in um, school for clinical hypnosis, I was in a guided imagery class with the guided imagery facilitator. I don't remember her name right now, but she still teaches it over there. And they asked us to tell them about something that we were using, if we had any guided imagery stories we used for ourselves. And I relayed this adventure that I go on where I'm in the sky, but very close below me, as if it was maybe 3 stories below, not very high. There were the tops of very tall mountains, but right above that were clouds, but you could still see the mountaintops. And there was a big staircase of 20 steps that I would walk down. And as I would walk down, it would count myself into a more relaxed state. Then I would walk across a long pathway that was up in the sky still. So there was just this long pathway that was floating in the air. It was levitating. And I would walk across this bridge that would eventually come up to the front of this castle in front of me that had several turrets and things like that. But before the castle, there was a moat, just like the European medieval castles. There was a moat, but this moat was a very vast and wide moat that has black water and all manner of creatures. Most of them, of course, have to have the classical red glowing eyes under there. And the drawbridge comes down, and I walk across the drawbridge. And then on either side of me, as I walk into the front entrance, there are huge fires in there. You can feel the heat coming off of them. You walk a few more steps forward, and then there are 2 staircases on either side of you that go up to a balcony that's right in front of you. And right behind that balcony, out comes a woman who's dressed in all black. You can tell that it's armor, but it's also somewhat seductive looking because it's very close fitting. But there, and you can see it's a woman's body with under the armor, but on the face, it's a skeleton face at first, but you can see there are living human eyes underneath, behind it. And then she takes it off, and it's arm. It's another part of her armor. It's like a mask or face mask, a face shield, sort of like a hockey mask. But this one looks like a skull,
Yeah.
like a real skull, a human skull. Anyway, she comes downstairs and leads me into a room, and there's all these people there, and it's Lee Jun Fan or Bruce Lee. It's Morihei Ueshiba, founder of Aikido. It's Michael Jackson, and this was before he died. So there were a lot of people. Anyway, it turned out this was called the Council of Legend. Hades was there, so the Greek god of the dead. And this woman who was at the top of the stairs who led me into the room, this was the so-called, she said, I go by many names. They call me the Grim Reaper. They call me Death, all this other stuff like that. And so she sat at one end of the table, and I was sitting at the other end, and all these other characters that were called the Council of Legend sat around the table, and then we would all talk, and they would share ideas about, and I would learn things from them. But I would have to go through this process of this imagery of going down those 20 steps and across the path and across the moat and past the fire, and then have her come down the stairs and reveal and bring me inside the room. My telling you this is that this is how some time ago I became friends with death. Then something interesting is that I have always been very interested in, I've always been morbid my whole life. And so I have sad radio. Most of my music is extremely sad. As a matter of fact, I believe that my music is what has created the situation in my whole life, because it was very focused on that kind of imagery. And I remember, for example, in the movie The Secret, there was a guy who wanted to date. He's like, I want to go on date 3 women a week. And his consultant was like, so paint it. So he painted it, and it was like women were fighting over him and all this. But before that, when she consulted, he was like, women don't want to date me. He was like, I see all these attractive women, blah, 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 but they don't stick, da, da, da. And she's like, well, look at all the pictures that you're painting. They're all these sad women that are saying, I don't want you, get away from me. She's like, change the way you paint. So then he was getting hounded by women. He's like, okay, women are hounding and fighting over me. He's like, but I want romance. I want to get married. And she's like, so paint it. And he did, and then he got married. And so this reminded me, I was like, man, how much more powerful is it that I'm creating this living soundtrack, which I call it, of music. But this living soundtrack created all this other stuff. It set up a whole everything up into my entire existence. It set up all the circumstances. Anyway, you understand how the law of attraction works. But so that was my sad radio. But even though I've always had sad radio, I've always been like a Constructabot, which is kind of like a play on the Constructicons from the Transformers. But I've always been hyper productive no matter what. I do have some times of downtime, but I always have somehow found a way to always remain on top of things. And one of the major contributions to that has been breath work. I've always, from a long time ago, I've learned how to be a deep breather. And so even though I'm going through a lot of grief, I don't actually experience the same negative physical side effects a lot of people do, because it might be a new idea to a lot of people, but you can actually have really deep, deep grief, but it connects itself to a completely different body. The problem is that most of the time when people don't have a deep breathing or other type of cleansing meditative practice, that body, that grief body, that part of you that's supposed to handle that, it starts to seep into the rest of you because you don't have compartmentalization control, which you could call a psychological, spiritual practice, wherever you want to do it, a type of meditation. But there's this actual, so the analog in the human body in biology, one of them is something called the CYP450 enzyme system, which is supposed to metabolize xenobiotics or chemicals and molecules that are foreign and harmful, often harmful to the human body. So this part of the astral body is an emotional body that's supposed to deal with grief, but almost no one knows that you can attach certain practices to, like something as simple as breath work, and you can start to feed into it's you can imagine it as if the breath is going between and creating a buffer between all the different kinds of bodies that there are. So there's all these different astral bodies that are infinitely thin layers, but there's so many of them clustered together of the vibrational frequencies that create all things, and they cluster densely and create a human body. But besides that, there's a layer that's supposed to handle grief. And if people don't have certain practices, whether they chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo or if they pray every day using the Bible, but the key is that whether they're Christian or not or whatever it is that they're using their faith or their practice specifically for the reason of making sure that that grief body or whatever they want to call it, people might call it a demon or whatever, doesn't seep into the rest of their body. So fortunately, I've had this long, deep practice of breath work, which some people might call spiritual because of the pranayama yoga. But so even though I have a horrid, terrible grief, something that I've never felt in my life that is heartbreaking and that causes me to cry, it doesn't cause like a sickness in my physical body, which is shown in the rapid way that I was able to completely change my physical composition, my body composition, and also be able to right away get back into the physical activities, because another step in from breath work, because it's also a physical activity, is physical fitness. And because I've had a long history of doing that very consistently, that's another thing that helps the body sometimes, in some ways, depending on how you exercise, can also help to wring out and squeeze out some of that extra stuff that may bleed off from that grief body into your physical body and your cells, because they do absorb it, because they are communicating with light, and literally and figuratively. That's what holds everything together, are photons and gluons, which are all different, which are basically light. And so that's the one thing. But the other part of that, which is really crazy, is that my grief body turns into a tulpa. Have you ever heard of a tulpa before?
No, what's a tulpa? No.
A tulpa is a mind-made body. It's a part of the Tibetan philosophy Um, and it basically takes on a mind of its own. So one of the first things I did, because I think I followed you and some other people, I saw that you guys were over at Clubhouse, and that's why I started a Clubhouse account. And my very first room that I opened, because I often just do this just to start stacking, content. The very first one I did was called Veil of Chains, and it's a death metal song that I did. And I sat there and I read the lyrics, and then I put the link to that song that's on YouTube. And the song basically is just saying to God, like it just says, "Fuck you for my grief." And
Wow.
so there's yeah, and so there's something I'm where I know that there's free will, and everything that has happened is part my use of thought and all of the other circumstances of how we draw in and interact with energy. But I have chosen to have, see, there's an interesting thing. A lot of people do this too. Have you ever seen somebody like you might be with a friend somewhere, maybe at their house, and they have like a glass or something that they really like, their favorite mug or whatever it might be, and they knock it over and drop it. And even though you really don't give a shit, like you actually somehow start feeling like you give a shit, and you actually even act and everything like that, and you cringe and everything. And for all intents and purposes, it seems like you care. But if you really boil it down to, you actually, for a lot of stuff, it doesn't really bother you that much. You're just sympathizing with the person. And a lot of people don't realize that that they're actually sympathizing with people, and that meanwhile you can do that, and it appears. So I found a lot of times that I've been able to take a lot of the grief energy that I have and give it to that muscular, motor, actual physical built-in system that is an analog also to that astral grief body, and say, oh no, you can have that, and let it act that out and put that energy into it, because it needs to go somewhere. Anyway, and then, something that you said was really interesting to me is about the being excited or okay with dying, because, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this too. So you got like 30 seconds left, so you can come back up. But here's what's really interesting
Yeah,
about what you said. Yeah, here's what's really interesting about what you said. You said that because you know that life is eternal, and you mentioned reincarnation and things like that, and how it's just a transition. You don't even want to say dying or death, because it's a transition. And what's very fascinating is that I have been also practicing another Tibetan practice that I've done. I've applied also um, my uh, pattern to, which is study, adopt, practice, adapt, and teach or share. It could be either one of those. And it's this practice of learning how to enter into the bardo state, which is a transitional state between, death and life, and also supposedly the hell realms and the heaven realms. And so, and that one of the gateways to learning how to steer and control and navigate in this nether world, this underworld, this other region, this bardo, is through the practice of lucid dreaming. It is said in this tradition that the way that you move about, the abilities that you have, that you can fly, that you can have all these different powers and things like that that you don't normally have in the physical world, is similar to what happens in these bardo and after physical life states, these in-between realms, when you're going to transition into either reincarnation to another life, or if you go to another planet, or if you go to a higher realm to do another job or whatever it is. And so that's another way that I've been able to deal with grief for a long time. And so thankfully, unless I'm completely wrong, because I feel amazing physically, which, by the way, is another thing that is also helpful in dealing with grief. Now, you see what I went through? I talked to a whole bunch of stuff, right? About like my sad radio and how even though I put out like sad stuff as an expression, I'm also a constructive bot. I'm also constantly in motion. I do breath work. As a matter of fact, I call it physio meditation, and I've created my own yoga practice called Dream Action Yoga, exposing the conditioned personality. And the song Veil of Chains, how I use that as an expression in anger. And then also the lucid dreaming. And what's so fascinating is that another thing that I've learned is that there's no one thing that is going to be it. And that I've had to tie into all of those things, including martial arts practice and all of those meditations, just to get a hold of this thing that grief is. This thing that grief is it can be a monster. And so that's sort of sharing with you how you share with me the things that have worked for you. And even still, one of the things that I do allow myself to do is, because I do go into a lot of spaces that are isolated, I do allow myself to have a really long, good cry until I just don't need to cry anymore. And it works. And when I was riding my bike 20 miles to go to a security job, sometimes it would start happening then, and I'd be like, great, because I'm on this road that's cut through a forest and there's nothing and nobody there, and so I can just cry. And one time it started pouring down rain, and I was like, oh, this is even better. And I just got down and I just cried and yelled and screamed and talked, and while it poured on me and soaked in rain. And then fortunately, somehow, some way, a magical laundromat appeared out of nowhere where I was able to dry my clothes and then get to work to my security job. But yeah, it takes all of those things, including the bike ride. That was part of it. Like all these things came into place. Um, and if there's any message that people should know, they should understand just exactly what you were saying, and just reinforced by what I'm saying is that there's no one thing. Like, look at all those things that you had to put together and that you're doing, and then you also recruited things that you were already doing by simply acknowledging them as also being therapeutic, where maybe you hadn't before, and then just it's kept on what we say, working through it and working with it. And that's the only way to go. The only issue that maybe I could say I could probably admit where I kind of went off on the deep end is a little bit, is that I do kind of, but I have for a long time. I might have scared some people because I've very often written about suicide, um, and my own. I've written ever since I was really young. I've written really and just dark poems about death and dying and wanting to be dead. So I don't know. Um,
Yeah, I mean, you know what's so beautiful about this is that as eternal beings coming to here to have a human experience, all of us have come to have a different experience. And all of these experiences are a part of the bigger experience. And, the thing is for me is if somebody, and this is what I pick up from you, it's almost like if you chose to come here and experience sadness, who am I to
mhm.
tell you that you shouldn't experience that? Because in you experiencing
Sure.
sadness and being able to navigate life while being sad and being able to teach others
You
how
are
to
right
write,
on
it's
track.
you are able to teach others that no, you don't have to be happy if that's not what you choose, but this is how
Hmm.
to exist and how to live with that experience. Whereas for me,
But
I chose
oh, go
I
ahead.
chose
Sorry about that.
joy. I chose absolute
Yeah.
and there is nothing wrong with choosing sad, but it's understanding that sadness is a what we call a low vibrational energy. So it resonates on a low vibrational frequency that
Right.
attracts things.
That's slightly different than what I was saying, because the part about that, about all those things that I'm doing, is that I get great joy out of all of them, especially
Right.
because most of the time they're employed towards helping other people.
Exactly.
So everything that I've always done has always been in service of other people,
Which
and
brings you joy.
because that's the one thing more than anything else
Yeah.
that makes me feel good. It's almost like as if some people are born with type 1 diabetes, and so they have to have insulin. Like, I
Mm.
have to be in support of people,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not like there's a shortage of people who need help in the world.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And it's like, so somehow I cannot exist properly if I don't have that.
Absolutely, because
It's
part of
like,
sadness is joy. It's like if we, like, okay, so what I share is that energy is energy. Sad is just an, like, if you look at things on a, oh, what's the word, horizontal. If you put sadness and joy, it's the same
mhm,
energy. Sadness is the absence
yeah,
of joy. Joy is the absence of sadness. So if you are a person that experiences sadness, you are actually experiencing the same energy as joy, just on a different part of that vertical. So if you say, right, horizontal thing, in that sadness might be on the left and joy might be on the right, and depending on where you are on that spectrum, you're going to experience. And for me, what I find happy life is getting that balance. It's having that balance of being able to
yeah,
experience sadness, but out of that sadness then create moments of joy, because you can. And I'm like, when you do that, so when you
yeah,
may be a sad person, but what you do as an antidote for that is you create moments of joy. And the reason why when you experience joy, you probably experience joy a lot more and feel it more than others because of being in that space of sadness. So when you experience joy, it's a heightened experience of joy, because you know what sadness feels like. And you can only experience a thing in the absence of said thing. You cannot experience a thing unless you've
mm,
experienced the absence of it. So if I've never been sad, I wouldn't know what joy feels like, because if that's all I felt and joy is all there is, then it's not joy, because there's no sadness to make it joy. It would just be what is. So in order for you to have the experience of joy, you must have the experience of sad. So it's all good. It's
mm,
all necessary, but it's understanding the
yes,
power of choice. If you choose to experience joy from that place, then that's what you choose. And it's, when do you choose something else? When you choose to. Okay, I don't want to be experiencing sadness anymore. I already know what that feels like. I'm done with that experience. And now I want to move into a space where I'm having regular, consistent experiences, frequent experiences of joy. And it's when you choose that, like for me, I always said I came here to experience high vibrational romantic love. And for the past however many years, all I've experienced is heartbreak. I've had 7 heartbreaks. 7 heartbreaks. I'm like, I didn't come here to experience that. But when I got the concept of, in order for me to have that experience of high vibrational romantic experience, I had to know what the absence of it would feel like, so that when I did experience that high vibrational love and high vibrational romance, I would have a point of reference to say, this is what it feels like. And as it has started to come into my life, I'm enjoying the experience of feeling loved and being loved and loving somebody and experiencing that. So it feels very different. But I was like, but I didn't come here to experience that. But it was like, you cannot experience a thing unless you experience the absence of a thing. So that's how I live my life. When I have a bad experience, when I've said, being a millionaire was always something that I knew that I was. But in my physical existence and experience, I was experiencing lack. I was experiencing poverty. I was experiencing hardship. But then I got it. And I was like, so if I'm experiencing this, then this is just an indication that I am experiencing abundance. I am experiencing worthiness. I am experiencing, joy. I'm experiencing all of these things, but in its lower vibration. And it's to take the steps of going from that experience to the next experience. And the fun bit is the bits in between, because what you learn along the way in those experiences helps you to solidify the mindset to be having that experience of opposite. And I love that.
Yes. I absorb all of that. You are wise beyond many things. But I think Rodney's on right now.
He's not. He just messaged, and that's what I was going to tell everyone, guys. So Rodney will be on, but he's coming on later today. He's coming on. I think he said 9 o'clock. So I don't know what time it will be for you, but he's coming on at a later time. I think he's allowing him
So it's nine. It's
to
9
rest.
Central.
Okay.
So that's 10 Eastern. And so that would be for you 3 o'clock.
Yeah, that'll be afternoon for me. Yeah. So anybody who's here waiting for Rodney, he is coming on. We've just been messaging, so yeah, he will be on, but he's gonna come on a little later today. So we'll have mid-morning mindsets.
Right, mid-morning mindset.
Mid-morning mindsets with Rodney Williams.
Mid-morning of mindset, maybe.
Yeah. So you've got us this morning, guys. You've got Hakeem and Aundrea giving you a space to be in.
That's right. So
if you're missing Rodney, he'll be here soon.
You can come and play.
Play.
So the thing is that I wonder, how there are different kinds of bees. Like some are worker bees, some are drones, and there's the queen. What if some people are just built to have to? There are certain mechanisms, certain cells in the greater organism that have that particular job.
Yes.
So here's this, for example. I'm not to say that any person is weaker than another, but I very often have seen in situations where, for example, a married couple, a spouse dies or passes away, that the one who passed away, when they did, if it was the other way around, the person who survived wouldn't survive.
I definitely believe that.
And so
I've seen that so many times, though. Sorry to cut you, but just like I've seen, I see that a lot with married couples, especially older married couples. Like one part of that couple will die, and the other person may not even be sick, but literally less than a year later, the other person dies because they choose that I don't want to be here without this person.
Right.
And now that I've finished with this experience of having the most wonderful, loving relationship, I fulfilled my purpose. So it's time for me to go. And I saw that happen firsthand. Yeah, I've seen it. When my dad was in ICU, there was a man in the ICU who was involved in a car accident. I won't go into the details, it's a little bit tragic, but his partner, she was at the hospital at the same time, so we would talk with each other, and it was literally like, I think her wedding was 3 months away or 2 months away, and her partner was lying in ICU, and sadly he died. And when he died, I could feel in myself that she doesn't want to be here without him. But, you know, we carried on communicating, and we would talk every now and again. And literally probably about, I would say maybe about a year, it might have been about a year later, I got a notification saying, "Rest in peace" to her. And I was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I spoke to her last week, but she died." And I knew instantly, because every day she would speak about him. Her connection to him had not been severed. She was still in love with him. She was not letting go of him, and she wanted to be with him. And she died about a year after. And I just know her soul didn't want to
Now,
be here without him.
was this an elderly person?
No,
Okay,
no.
there you
He
go.
was, I think he was like, I think he was about, I think he was 29. They were quite young,
Uh-huh.
29, 30, and she was in
Yes.
her 30s. And, you know, she was healthy. She was traveling. She was doing
Yep.
stuff. She wasn't sick, but she
Mhm.
was sad. Every time I would
Yes.
speak to her, I would feel the sadness. And, you know, obviously I shared a very intimate moments with her, of being there and being able to speak to him and see him, and, you know, be introduced to him, even though I know that he wasn't conscious, but I know that his energy was around. And, you know, it was a really beautiful experience, and we shared that. So that gave us a kind of a bond that she didn't have with anybody else, who was able to come in and see him and be there with her, with him. And we would eat lunch together, and we would talk about my dad, and we would talk about her partner and how they were doing. And, you know, it was very, we bonded over grief. We bonded in grief. And, you know, when you bond with somebody like that, you know, you have that commonality in your interactions. So, and I knew that she was sad, and she would be very open with saying that she was sad, because she felt
Yeah.
comfortable to express that level of sadness with me, knowing that it wouldn't be uncomfortable for me. So we had that bond. And when I heard that she died, I knew straight away that you chose that you didn't want to be here without that person. But then my grandma and my
Absolutely.
granddad, when my grandma died, I got the feeling that my granddad didn't want to leave with my grandma. He didn't want to leave with her. He wanted to
Right.
stay here and experience his grandchildren and experience his
Right.
children and be here for us. He didn't die till about, I think it was 14 years later.
Right.
And we were watching him for the first year. I was like, keep an eye on him, because
Mm-hmm.
now grandma's gone. He may decide to go too, but
Right.
he didn't want to. And I remember speaking to my granddad. He started to get a bit poorly, you know, after, 15 years. And he said to me, "I'm tired now." And he said, I'm ready to go. And I was like, "Granddad, you can't go." He's like, "I'm ready to go now." And he literally called all his kids, all of the grandkids. We went round to my aunt's house, and he blessed each and every one of us and said a prayer over every single one of us. And he died, I think it was 3 months after that, or 2 months after that. Because I realized we choose. He knew that he was done, and he was like, "Well, before I go, I want to do this," and he did it. And for me, that was a real beautiful example of the other side, where the partner may choose to be here without that person. Now, me, I can't say what it would be for me, but I know I love so deeply. And once I've connected to that true love, that's what I came here to experience. I came here to experience high vibrational romantic love. I've already experienced heartbreak. I've already experienced grief, and I don't choose to have that experience anymore. So for me, I think for me, if my partner dies, please get ready, because I'm not staying. What am I here for? Unless I find a different purpose, or I choose something else, because that's the beauty of it. We can always choose something
Yeah,
else. We don't have to,
that's
if you've
right.
chosen that in a low vibration or in whatever energy, you always have the power and the free will to choose something else at any point in your life. You can choose.
It's true. It's very true. I can't have no no disagreement with that at all.
But that's the beautiful thing about it. I spoke to one of my clients this morning, and I said, "How are you doing this morning?" She said, "Well, I'm here trying to figure out my purpose, and I literally said to her, I said, "Hey, guess what?" I said, "Maybe this will help you. You don't have to figure out your purpose, because you have the power to choose it." And she said, "What?" I said, "You have the power to choose. You've got free will. You can choose what your purpose is." A lot of people sit down there and say, "Oh, I don't know what my purpose is." It's just you haven't chosen it. You can choose to experience whatever you desire, whatever. And I choose to be here to help people to heal while I'm healing myself. And I choose to share my healing and my processes and the tools that I've used, that I am now having these experiences of high vibrational love and high vibrational abundance and high vibrational joy and peace and all of these high vibrational things. I've chosen this experience, and I'm loving it, because I realize that we are creators. We are powerful, powerful creators, and everything that we are experiencing, we have co-created or created for us to have the experience that our soul desires to have the experience of. And that's the beauty of this thing called life, this human experience. Because the truth of the matter is, God himself could not experience himself but by the absence of everything that is himself. Which is why the bad stuff that we call the bad stuff, or
Right.
fear, was created. Fear is not a bad thing. Fear was just created so that, because it's of God is love. If you believe God is love, love is what we call what God is, that energy of love. But that encompasses everything. So the only way you could experience love is to experience what is not love, which is fear. Fear is the absence of love, but fear is an expression of love. And it's only when you move from fear to love can you then experience love.
Fear.
Yes, fear is the opposite of love. People say hate. Hate is not the opposite of love. Fear. Because fear, okay, love has everything in it. So does fear. If you say you love somebody, I guarantee you, you will experience every single emotion known to man with the person that you love. You will experience anger. You will experience hatred. You will experience frustration. You will experience sadness. You will experience joy. You will experience happiness. You will experience love. You will experience peace. You will experience every single thing. When you say, "Oh, I just want someone to love me," be careful, because love comes with everything. And this is why I don't say I just want love. I now specifically say I choose to experience high vibrational love, which is all the good stuff. I've already experienced low vibrational love. I was in a relationship for 3 years with somebody who, it was a long distance relationship. They didn't like to communicate. They weren't affectionate. They weren't empathetic. They weren't giving. They weren't kind. And I stayed with this person for 3 years, loving on this person and wishing that my love would change them.
Gee willikers,
Who was
Aundrea,
I
3
kidding?
years.
I know, 3 years. Not 3 years consistently. It was kind of off and on because I'd get fed up and then I'd be like, I'm not doing this anymore. But then my would just be,
One of
I
them.
love you, you know? And I'm like, no, I've had enough. I love myself. I deserve better than this. And then the next thing, I wouldn't talk to them for 2 months, and then they'd come back again, and I'd let them back in because I just love them, and I was hoping against hope. And it wasn't until I reached a point where I said, I love me more than I love you, because I have to wake up with me every single day. I have to spend every single moment with me. And if I can't give myself this love, how can I say that I love deeply? Because you can only love at the capacity, you can only love others at the capacity to which you can love yourself. And if you are willing to accept bad behavior, that's a part that needs healing. That's a bit of not self-love. And when I realized that, and I ended the relationship, not out of anger, but from a place of love, I literally fell in love with myself. And it was the turning point for me to then attract another relationship, which was better, but still I was seeing the same traits showing up. So it told me, this is a mirror, Aundrea. Look in this mirror and see what you don't like, because this is indicators of where you need to heal. And that last relationship that I was in was 3 months. So the first one was 3 years, the next one after 3 months. And what I learned from that relationship was, choose you. And I literally ended the relationship by saying, I came here to experience high vibrational romantic love. And the love and the stuff that I've been pouring into you and choosing you over myself, I no longer desire to do that. And from this point, I choose Aundrea. Wholeheartedly, I fell in love with me, and then I chose me. And when I chose me, literally after that was when I started to attract the loving relationships more into my life that I actually desired to experience, because I had healed those unhealed parts of me. So I was no longer attracting what was in me that I didn't like. I started to attract the very thing that I desired. And trust me, it was overwhelming. It was very overwhelming to be loved at that level, because I'd not experienced it, even though I desired to experience it. I'd only experienced the opposite. But now I had transitioned into the higher vibration, so I was attracting the same thing, but in a high vibrational mode, and everything changed. Everything changed at that point. And now I'm in such a great space.
That is very inspiring to hear.
I love that. When you change the way you look at things, everything you look at
Things you
changes.
look at changes.
Absolutely. And that's what I did. I just changed my perception. I always visualized it like a tree. Me and Hakeem standing on opposite sides of a tree. And I'm on this side that has moss growing on it because the sun doesn't shine on that side as much first thing in the morning. And Hakeem is on the side of the bark that doesn't have moss. And I'm saying, well, this tree has moss and it's green on the bark and it looks like this. And Hakeem says, well, I'm looking at the same tree, and this tree doesn't have any moss on it, but it's because of your perception. So I'm saying, well, Hakeem, come over here and look at the tree from my angle. Oh, yeah, the tree does have moss. And then you say, come over here, Aundrea, and look at it from my perspective. And I'm like, oh, that side of the tree doesn't have moss. But we're looking at the same
tree
thing with a different perspective.
Yeah.
So sometimes all we have to do is shift our perspective and we will see things very differently. And that's what I do. I just offer a different perspective, and if it resonates with you, then I'm happy. If it doesn't resonate with you, then I'm still happy.
What's interesting is, and this is kind of steering the conversation slightly in a different direction, but what you just said about perspective, there was a Nova documentary, or I don't know what you would call that, a docudrama. Anyway, it was with a physicist named Brian Greene, a theoretical physicist, and it was about string theory. And there was one point in the production, in the presentation, where they were showing that, trying to figure out how string theory did what it did and whatnot. Anyway, they finally came to the conclusion that it was just a different perspective. And so when this one guy came in and looked at the problem from a different mathematical perspective, he came up with different equations. His name is Ed something. Anyway, they called it M theory, but it was just that similar idea of looking at things from a different perspective, was able to come up with a solution by simply changing how something was looked at. And what I also find interesting in that is that in physics, there are these. What is going on with your profile there? You're like winking in and out, muting.
Oh, I don't know. I'm here though.
That is hilarious. All right. And so, for example, Isaac Newton, he has 3 laws of motion, but they match up really well with psychological and behavioral concepts that don't have their core driver from something physical necessary. Oh wait, mine is doing under mine. Anyway, so there are so many interesting things that you offered as far as grief. I mean, it's a very deep subject. I sent you a link.
I saw what you sent me. I'm gonna have a look at that. That looks really interesting.
Yeah. And did you? And also, I know. I see. This is why I got to slow down, because I can't overwhelm people. I know that people are busy. I sent you the haiku. I sent you Hypnotic Wax, my haiku ebook. Yes.
I think so. I'll have to have a look, because sometimes when you're on here, it doesn't give you the message thing in the back unless you go out and come back. But if I go out, it's gonna drop me down. So I'm trying to get it on my phone so I can look at it at the same time.
Oh yeah, the book is there. It's not too far from.
Sorry, you can probably hear a echo. 1 second. There you go. Right, yeah. So I had to mute it because I can see that. Yeah, I see the link that you sent me.
All right, just checking. Okay, so you have homework.
I don't like homework.
Oh yeah, you're bleeping in and out. That's weird. Anyway, maybe kick yourself. Yeah, there you go. Out of the queue. And it is 7:12 in the morning. I've been hanging out here with the joyful Aundrea Nyle, and somehow got on the subject of grief after I talked about. I did a reading of Wearables data combined with AI, and somehow, it was an observation from Aundrea, my sad face.
I'm like, oh, he looked sad.
You know the something interesting is two characters. See, I attach a lot of things to fiction and drama to help people understand things. I can say, look at this scene in a movie. So one, I'll go to the more recent one, which is Equalizer with Denzel Washington. And in that movie, the character played by Chloe Grace Moretz, she's talking to him in this cafe that they had met each other in, and she says, she's like, she asks him a question. She's like, what happened? Where's your wife? She's like, did you break her heart? And he says, no, she broke mine. And then a little bit, sometime later in one of their conversations, she says, your wife died, didn't she? And she says, how do you know? She's like, the guys, the widowers. She says, I can always tell. She's like, it's in their eyes. She says, it's not sad. It's just empty. And I just thought, I was like, sometimes they get it right in this whole movie thing. And
Yeah.
and so I know,
No,
but
I'm
it's,
still listening. I'm still listening.
yeah, I know it's, but the thing with me is that it's also, for me, not a problem. Like some people react to other people's grief with more concern than sometimes a person needs, because everybody's built differently, and so sometimes it's like it's like taking some of these animals out of the wild, how they die when they're in captivity, um, or taking anything out of its element too quickly. Like how divers, when they go scuba diving, they have to come up at a certain pace so they don't get blood poisoning from too much nitrogen in their gas, and I mean in their blood. Um, and there's so many different things that people are working with that it's fascinating because uh, but but I really like that character in Equalizer that Denzel Washington played, and how they used, because that's the way that I like to handle, or to I look at those kind of examples and think, yes, that's a dignified way to deal with it. It's like, yes, there's that darkness that looms, and it's not, but there's a way where you can use it in a, I don't know, but that's all I get. I just like the word adventure. To me, adventure is fun, but it's also difficult. And so, it's the reason why people play football and shit like that, or do MMA, because they're enjoying themselves. But it's difficult. Now, yes, of course, there's a whole lot of people who do it just for the money, but um, a lot of people enjoy it. But at the
Yeah,
same
some
time, it's
people
very
enjoy
difficult.
difficulty. Some people enjoy it. Some people enjoy things. And I think that's, what it is with me, is what I've learned and what I'm learning is that, like, I see you and instantly my heart wants to make it better for you because what's the word? I'm evaluating
Ooh,
your
something just
experience.
popped in. Okay.
I'm
Wow.
I'm I'm evaluating your experience from my perception of
There you
what
go.
I
You
feel
hit
like
it.
life should be. And then I'm looking at you saying, well, you should be happy and you should be smiling and you should be joyful and da 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 da. But if it when okay, so there's a saying that says, treat people the way you want to be treated. And I always had a bit of a problem with that because I was like,
Mm,
well, if I treat you the way that I want to be treated, then I'm not
right.
actually loving on you because I'm giving you what I want rather than giving you what you desire. So I've changed that to treat people the way they desire to be treated, because in treating people the way that they desire to be treated, I'm actually treating you the way I desire to be treated, which is how I desire to be treated. So if I come from that stance that, okay, Hakeem has chosen to be sad and he's chosen to have this experience that he's having. Why should I come and say, you shouldn't be sad, you shouldn't be this, when if that's what you've chosen to experience, knowing that somebody who's experienced this is then even more better equipped to help somebody else who's experiencing this than maybe I am, because I'm coming from a place of I want to get you to joy. But if we had both you and me, Hakeem's like, I don't want to get you to a place of joy. I just want to get you to a place of being okay with where you are at. That's a different stance. My thing
Sure.
is, I want to make the whole world happy. I want everyone to sit around the fire singing Kumbaya. I
That's
want us
because
to
you're
hug
a
trees and
girl.
and girl power is, yes, girl
um,
power. I'm
I
here for
wanna
it.
I wanna give you a little preview of what I sent you.
Sure.
Um, it's called Exploring Thanatology
I may have to
through
go
loose.
shortly because I'm expecting a phone
Oh yeah,
call, but
sure.
I'm here for that. I'm here until the phone
Yes,
call.
yes, yes.
Fine.
Exploring Thanatology through lucid dreaming and out of body astral projection stimulating frequencies. Anyway, where did I put? Oh yeah, so for deeply personal reasons, I've become a radically dedicated thanatologist. I am searching for something, and if I happen to find it, you may not want to be exposed. However, for those that understand they are ready, proceed with discretion. So, um, in this whole thing, it's actually a whole series of tones, binaural beats that I've created. There's 18 of them in total that are all uh, seeking an entryway into the places that people's spirits go when they depart from the physical world. So that's something I've been playing around with for a long time, and it's quite fascinating what
I think
happens.
that's absolutely fantastic. And you know what I would say to you? Speak to Rodney about this, because I know that he's in the process of, I think he's recording some meditations. And I was literally saying to him, but we need to find binaural beats to put in these meditations to enhance the experience of said meditation. So, for instance, like, the frequency of joy, or the frequency of happiness, or the frequency of whatever it is that will allow you to have that experience, or that energetic or spiritual experience, when it's under music with a guided meditation, is such a powerful tool. I use meditations that have binaural beats in them, because I find them way more effective than if I just listen to, plain meditation music. And it allows
Hmm.
my brain to resonate on that frequency, because frequency is what it's all about. We are
Right.
all energy, and energy resonates on frequency. So our bodies respond to frequency. So, depending on the frequency that you are resonating on, it would determine the experiences that you have in those moments. So, I love that, and I
I
would
mean,
definitely say, yeah, speak to Rodney. And if you don't,
I
I'm
told you I wouldn't overwhelm you, but I sent you the something I did just before I spoke to you,
yeah.
before I jumped on this call. And it was an experiment that I did, and I was talking about the wisdom map, and just it was really an experiment to see how the audio came out with the binaural beat that I had in the background. So that one is more passive. You don't have to read anything; you can just listen.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a listen to that. I'm gonna have a listen to that. Yeah, definitely.
So, what's your phone call about today?
My phone call is just
Okay.
connecting, really. Yeah.
All right. So
Oh,
no,
my dog. Sorry.
no secret stuff.
Yeah, just connecting. No, 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 not really. Just connecting and planning. And I've had a few meetings. So I've been talking to the guys who are organizing the FABU event, which I don't know if you've probably spoken to Ryan and Tina. They're doing that event in Utah, which they've asked me if I would come and be a guest artist. So we're trying to figure that out as well. So yeah, that's all. There's a lot of exciting things happening. So yeah, that I'm looking forward to that, and I think it's going to end up being a bit of a meet and greet for the Wisdomers, because I think there's quite a lot of the Wisdomers who are going to be at this event in Utah in
And
December. I
what's the
believe the
event
dates.
for exactly?
So it's Tina and Laura. They
Oh,
actually,
yes.
yeah, they own a big healing organization.
So it's like a retreat center or something? Do they actually have a
Yeah,
brick and
they
mortar thing? Okay.
yes. So they are putting on an event with, Ryan, who is, I would describe him as an oracle, and he's, kind of stepping into his power and more openly, and he's going to be
I hear you
sharing.
just say you would describe him as an oracle?
Yeah,
Just making sure I heard that correctly.
you did. You definitely did. Think of Matrix and the oracle in Matrix. That is Ryan. I'm like an oracle in training, so
Okay.
I'm really excited to have that experience, because people always call me the oracle. My friends call me the oracle. People in my family call me the oracle, because I hear spirit and I tap in and I get secrets and I tell them stuff, and I see stuff that happens in the future, and and that's part of my superpower. It really helps me with my coaching, because I'm able to see people's potential, but I'm also able to identify the blockages that they have in
Wow.
moving towards their
You see
potential.
potential?
Oh gosh, yes. It's
All I
that's
see
what
is
kept me
dead
in the
people.
relationship for 3 years. Oh, I see them too. Oh, I definitely
I'm just
see
joking
them
though.
too.
I've been
No, I'm
waiting to
actually
use that
not.
line.
Oh my God. Yeah, oh yeah, I remember. He's like, I see dead people. That's me. They literally show up for me, and I'm like, oh, hello, what are you doing here? And they'll start talking to me and telling me, can you give this person this message? Or I'll be talking to somebody, and, a loved one will show up. And sometimes I do ignore them because I'm not sure if the person's ready to hear from them. And I will just be like, no, they did. I don't know if they're ready for that. So no. So I'll just pretend I don't see them or hear them,
Mm.
but they're definitely
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of thing. I actually have to go looking for them. So
Oh no, they come to me. They're like, oh,
now
she
the
can see us, she
now
can hear
now if
us.
you want to talk about aliens, now they come to me.
Oh wow. But we're
Yeah.
all aliens when you really think about it. But that's just a
Okay.
whole nother
I'm
thing.
okay. So
That-
then the term I'll use is non-human entities.
Okay.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're non-human intelligences because they're just what I don't know what these buggers are doing, but they're doing it. It's not fun for me. I get, I get upset. I've written art. I have a whole. I have my website. That's the name of my business. I don't know how I ended up doing that, but on UniquilibriuM.com is basically founded on me trying to find any single conceivable way to kill aliens with
Oh
with
my
with the
gosh.
with psychic powers, and and, and what's hilarious about it is that I came across some really deep and some interestingly coincidental things in doing that, and it's just really really funny.
I
Anyways,
love that.
um,
So you're like the bug killer of aliens. Like
yeah, and people all are
they're
like,
like
no, but there's
annoying
some
them.
nice ones. They're like,
There
they're
are
so nice,
nice
and
ones.
they come here to evolve humanity and warn us about nuclear technology. And I was like, shut up, man. I was like, they're out there sticking things inside people's ears and stuff like that.
But
You
you
know,
know what? You
I'm
know
a,
what's funny? Sorry to cut you, but
yeah,
there are high vibrational. But this it's the same. The universal laws do not change because of the being. It just you have aliens who are here to assist, and you also have lesser evolved alien species that want to harm, and that is the actual truth.
Yeah, I've seen one get killed in front of me by another one.
Wow.
Um, yep, one that I learned later was called a lyran, and the other
Hmm.
one's called a reptoid or a reptilian. And I saw the reptilian kill. So I saw a lizard kill a white girl,
Oh wow.
a blonde, green-eyed, and then a lizard comes out of a spaceship and just shoots her right in the chest. Yep.
What?
Puts a big black hole right between her mammary gland. You know, pew
Wow.
pew.
Pew pew.
It was
Gone.
crazy.
That's
And I was
extraordinary.
very young.
That,
Extraordinary.
yeah. I mean, I'm
But
see so, but it's the vibration. I don't see those kind of things. I see angels, and I see
lucky you.
heads. I
I
know.
see trees of green, red roses too. What a wonderful world. Yeah, good.
But I say
Very
to
nice.
myself, what do you say? You got to do it. You got to do the line. And I say to
What,
myself,
what a wonderful world.
what a
Lou,
wonderful world.
Louis Armstrong. No,
Okay, Hakeem, I
there's
need a
something.
guilty
Yeah.
pleasure. I need a guilty pleasure.
What's that?
I would love for you to do my numbers today.
Oh yeah, sure.
I
I
would
was
love.
actually gonna get around to that. Um, all right. Now that I have a book, um, I bought a new book especially for this.
Oh,
So
awesome.
I'm gonna start my Aundrea Nyle page right here.
I got
And
my
okay,
own page. Got my own page.
518.
518. Yep.
What's
518.75.
518.75? Okay. All right. So we're looking at a 23 plus 22. 4. Oh, I think we did this. You're a numeral 9, right? Did we come to that conclusion before? So 1975.
1975.
Okay. So we have to. All right. So. And 518. Okay, so you're 9. Okay. Numeral 9. All right. So this. Right, so her life path. This is 9. Okay. And then. Oh, you had your birthday this year. So. Okay. So your
Just
personal
wanted to say
year.
hi to Adam. Hey, Adam. How you doing? Seen a
Okay.
few
So
faces. Okay.
hello, few faces. Um, thanks for passing through, bouncing around, and listening. I know that it might seem strange that this title is Wearables Data Combined with AI Effectively Discerns Parkinson Symptoms. But that's how I started it, and I finished that subject and just let the tape run.
And run it has been running. You know you can change that midway, right?
What's that?
You know you can change your title midway. So if your
Oh, yeah.
topic changes and you wanted people to kind of know what you're
Yeah.
talking about, you could actually change your title. I'm just
That's
saying.
actually, yeah, I know. I've done it before. I just, didn't pull myself away from our conversation to think about that. But now that we have more space, I might. All right. So, uh, May 18th. So you're from your birth date, you're a numeral 9, which is a number of completion. It would be interesting for me to do your entire full name at some point in time, to do a full numeroscope to compare those things. But that's a numeral that signifies completion and totality. In regards to a person, it means that they are complete in many ways. You have the characteristics and traits of all the other 8 numerals in full balance of all the spectrum that needs to be. And you can think of balance as there are 9 numerals, 5 is in the middle, and so there's 4 on each side, and so it's completely balanced, balanced out. And the numeral 9 has that balancing characteristic of all of the numerals. Your personal year, because you just had your birthday this year, is 5 plus 2021 is also a 5, so it's a 1. So you started, so on your birthday this year until your birthday of next year in 2023, or the day before, that is, you're under the influence of the vibrational energy of the numeral 1, which is